Thank you. Okay, we're going to start with Dick here. And the question is, how important is lowering the quorum from 50% to 35% and why?
Well, first of all, I think it's very important that we lower the quorum. We have not had a valid election since 2009. And there have been years when the Homes Association tried very hard with 3 mailings, but we never got to the 50%. Without a valid election, the board is basically just perpetuates itself. It's very non-democratic, and it's just not a very good system. The 35% was something that was, I think, resolved as part of a settlement. I personally think it'd be better at 25, but or actually have even a better system, which is a little complicated. But in any case, I think you should all vote to lower the 35. If we don't do that, we're going to be stuck with 50 for a very long time.
Thank you. John.
I'd like to just echo Dick's comments there. This is not a new problem. When we were going through some of the litigation launched to try to create a more democratic process for the Homes Association, we went through all the old board minutes and all the old newspaper articles, and there's been a lot of people out there who are frustrated that they haven't been able to elect their representatives because of this quorum requirement. Only 29% of the time since 1941 has a quorum been reached. It's at 3 out of the last 25 years. And it's very significant. At this point, as a result of not achieving a quorum, none of the members of the current board have ever been elected. And we have, and the problem with that is then we're not responsive to the needs of the community. If everything's going fine, it's not a problem. But when there's something happens that people have a difference of opinion and want to have new leadership, we're kind of stuck without that kind of democratic process. So I think it's very important. In fact, I say the most important thing in this election isn't which of us you choose to elect to serve you. The most important in this election is this quorum so that we can have a shot at it. 25% would be a much better number. That's what we advocated with when we were trying to get the Homes Association to do that. But the first step is we have to do 35 before we get there.
Thank you. Reed.
I totally agree with what has been said just now. We need to lower the quorum. It's just 50% is, a lot of you know, in a lot of mayoral, even national elections. You're lucky to get maybe 30, 40%. I think in the last mayor election with LA, they only had 19, 20%. So our quorum amount of 50% is just way too high. We've also had, I think, a different composition with basically our communities. Some people maybe have second homes here, maybe don't spend full year here, maybe they aren't as likely to vote. I think that also hurts the turnout. So along with John and others, I've actually fought to lower this quorum. It's taken 2 years. We were in court, and we had a very difficult time getting the past directors to make any sort of improvements on lowering the quorum at all. In fact, they even claimed in court that the PVHA is not a democracy. They didn't want an election. And that's sad that we have board members in the past that have been that way. And we still have a couple that still serve on the board that had supported that. So we need to make changes. We need to have a quorum. And if you haven't voted yet, I encourage you to vote. And if you know of some friends, please be sure that they voted too. We still have about 600 or 700 votes more than we need, or more to obtain in order to get a quorum. So hopefully we can get that. Thank you.
Thank you. Charles.
On the quorum issue, initially I supported full-heartedly lowering the quorum to whatever number it is, 35% or even lower. So it sounded like a good idea because lowering the quorum requirements would allow fewer people to make decisions that are binding. So on the surface, it seems to make sense. But upon talking to my neighbors, as I was collecting signatures for the petition to be placed on the ballot, one of the things that they pointed out to me that lowering the quorum actually means that a minority of the residents will have will be able to push their way through as opposed to a 50% majority. So the question, the caution that I raise is that I want to make sure that the majority view is preserved, and that lowering the quorum requirements is not going to take that away from the majority of the residents here.
Okay, thank you. And now we need the microphone down here to Marlene. Okay.
Okay. I think we've all brought up some really good points about the quorum. I support lowering the quorum. I've seen what happens when we don't get enough of the community participating. And of course, 25% is a minimum number. 35 will work. And of course, we welcome more. I mean, if people turn out and they're interested in what's going on and we get more than 35% people voting, that's icing on the cake. But the 35% is really crucial for this organization to be able to move forward, and it will give PVHA the ability to adapt to the changing circumstances and to address some issues that are really important and need to be tended to ASAP. Thank you.
Thank you. Gain.
So my answer to this question about lowering the quorum is I don't think it's that critical as to a percent. I think what does the homeowners that all live in this area that are all under this PVHA association, what do they want to lower it to? Do they want it 25%, 35%? I'm willing to go to whatever percent they want to lower it to. I think the question is responsiveness and responsibility and accountability of your elected representatives, because the quorum is going to elect them. Secondly, I think we should put in term limits so that regardless of how low we put the quorum, we should have a term limit that no matter what, whether they get elected or appointed, that they can't serve, let's say, more than 2 terms. And I think we would get more accountability. The question here is we need accountability of our elected representatives regardless of what percent we lower the quorum to. I think we do have issues with all the voters' responsiveness, and I would add email to all of the mailing, online ability to email, vote, or vote online securely, etc. So that's my answer to this question.
Thank you.